probably to their detriment to have me lead this call today. And I'm just kidding. I'm excited to do it because I'm going to see you guys all in Vegas next week at the event, which I'm pumped about. I presume everyone on here is going to be there as well. Khai might even make an appearance, but they asked about a specific, topic or two or something that's really critical to our industry right now. And obviously, heading into the event, there's going to be a lot of great keynotes from amazing speakers on certain topics. I don't want to spoil any of that. We're not getting into that. What we wanted to talk about today, and that's why I asked Khai if he would join me to talk with everyone on this one, is something a little bit different in terms of positioning. Mindset's important right now. And at the event next week, everyone is going to learn a lot about tactics and strategies and certain new business development practices, like things to do. There'll be some touch on mindset, but positioning is a really, really big thing. I have worked personally with Khai since 2009. Mark Madsen, who's on this call, is the one who introduced us. Mark Madsen's actually also responsible for me ending up in this damn industry as well as a mortgage person, because we were in college. I flew down for his birthday while still in college, and he was already doing mortgages, and he had me take a client call, and I had no idea what I was doing, but he told me to close the guy. And I don't even know what that even means, but it worked out. I think Mark got paid on the deal, and this was back in 2000. So obviously not the best of business practices, but the positioning thing now is a really, really big topic for LOs, and how they're being viewed by the market, how to attract business instead of begging for it. I'm a big advocate in the LO not referring to themselves as an LO anymore, but a mortgage advisor, evolving into something else, because for too long, the industry has us positioned as not what we should be, which is the unsung hero of every transaction, but more of this like vendor and someone who's on a list or an option. And I don't think we're options. But again, since I've been working with Khai since 2009, that's what he's worked intensely with me on in terms of defining my value. How do I stand out? How am I different? Getting really deep on it, not just a couple of surface level things. So I think, Khai, this couldn't be a more important and relevant topic, especially in today's market. You've seen plenty of market cycles. But first and foremost, Khai, welcome to the call. Thanks for being on with us, brother. I know the community is going to benefit from this, and hopefully you will get to make an in-person appearance next week at Vegas. But yeah, I mean, like you run one of the biggest coaching platforms. And when I say biggest, I mean the most impactful, right? You are selective about who you work with, but you move the needle in people's businesses. That's why I've stayed with you since 2009. I haven't gone anywhere else. But you've seen enough market cycles, Khai, and as we kind of segue into what you wanted to talk about, why is this current market and the relevance of what you want to talk about so important now?
I think that for years we've been accidentally lucky. That's the reality. I mean, I don't think it's very hard to get a license and to just start slinging mortgages. Like the barrier of entry is really, really low, right? Accidental success doesn't teach you anything. There's a lot of accidental success in the early 2000s, in the mid 2000s, in some of the market cycles. I think it was 12 in a couple of those years. I think it was 12. Some of those years that we had refi booms, and then of course 2021. And you quote this, Arjun. It's not the market that we like 2023, 2024. It's not the market we needed, but it's the market. It's not the market we wanted, but it's the market we needed. And it's a market we needed because I think that this is the moment that we have to redefine what our true value is in order for us to make an impact, because there's so little inventory right now and there's so much competition that you have to stand out, right? Like I always make, you and I, we like to make those like dating analogies. Far too often have we walked into the bar and there's just, it's just like, there's just girls everywhere. And now you're like, now there's like 10 guys and like 2 girls. Like, holy crap. Like, what do I do to stand out? And I think for too long, I think the cycle that we need to break is that we need to break the cycle of this is a sales driven industry. Okay. And I say that because salespeople, and I'm gonna start picking on things for effect, but like salespeople are inherently lazy, especially if you go by the philosophy of it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ruffle some feathers right now, but sales should never be a numbers game. Marketing can be a numbers game, but sales should never be a numbers game. What do I mean by that? Well, marketing is when you're basically trying to push it out to like lots of people. Like if I were to send an invite out to 1,000 loan officers and say, come to my webinar, it's a numbers game. You know what I mean? Because like some people are going to be busy. Some people aren't going to be interested. I might get my 2%, 3% response. But if I get a one-on-one with somebody, it's not a numbers game. It's a conversion game. Okay. A numbers game, if I said, yeah, I'm going to walk up to 50 girls and just ask them for the number, somebody's going to say yes. That's accidental success. But when there's 10 of us and 2 girls, it's a conversion game. And so I have to ask you guys this question. And, we got some attendees now. What value do you offer your realtor partner? I'm going to
Throw
start.
this in the chat, guys. Throw this in the chat.
Let's throw this in the chat. What value do you offer your realtor partner? And guys, I don't care if it's like good answers or wrong answers, but like what value do you offer? How do you set yourself apart and how do you make yourself better? Like what is the thing that you do? Okay. Now I'm going to make a reference, and I got made fun of yesterday by Deborah Bird and Denise Donahue, because we always try to talk about staying hip and relevant. And I made a Wheel of Fortune reference, and they're like, "Hi, is that really relevant?" Like who watches Wheel of Fortune today? But I'm sure everybody here used to watch Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So in Wheel of Fortune, at the very, very last one, the person had to write, you have to guess the puzzle, and they would ask you for five consonants and one vowel. And everybody figured out after a while that RSTLNE were like the 5 letters that you should say, RSTLNE, right? So then Wheel of Fortune caught on to that because everybody kept saying the same thing. So the new Wheel of Fortune, they put those 5 letters up right away, and they say, okay, you can't pick those 5 letters. So they'll put a couple letters up. They say you have to pick something else. And so when I ask you guys, what value do you offer your real estate agents? If you say like education closing and I get stuff done, guess what? That's RSTLNE, because every single person is going to say that. Every single person. If I were to like literally survey in like the entire momentum builder next week, 80% of the people offer the same value, which you think is unique, but it's not. Which you think is better than everybody else, but it's not, right? So the bar is really, really low. We're at, like my analogy is like if we were to do like a ski race, Arjun, and then I had to race you and you had like these brand new like racing skis and I had to use rentals. All of you guys are out there selling with rental skis right now. And you do it over and over. And it's a numbers game to you. And you keep getting yeses and you keep getting no's and you wonder why. And you're like, well, nobody's doing this. How do you ensure that you have one meeting with the realtor and they want to work with you right away? How do you ensure that you have an event with realtors and everybody want to work with you, right? That's the question. Okay. So I would like everybody to know, what is your value? Okay. Let's go ahead and put that in the chat. Now, for those of you that haven't answered, or for those of you that are sitting there wondering, like, what is my value? I'm going to help you out a little bit. Okay. I made a list of 10 ways you can add exceptional value to real estate agents. I'm going to show it on the screen right now. So I think I can screen share. Here we go. So here's a list. Okay. First, let's get it off the table. You can provide expert mortgage services. I get it. We can close on time. I know my products. I get deals done. I'm good with customers, blah, blah, blah. So is everybody else. Okay. Now let's look at the rest. You can help facilitate more referrals. You can help them convert lead management and age leads better. Post-close, what are they doing with their database? Collaborate on webinars and events. Collaborate on social media. Help them win offers. Help them win listings. Other comprehensive business support, like business planning, time management, CRM management, everything else. And then this is a new one, just understanding the changing markets, whether it's the market itself or whether it's the consumer itself. Like, it's different. These are things that we can do. And I sat down and I created this list because, and if you've never done this before, that's what you have to do. You have to take yourself through the exercise. Like, what value do I bring, right? I created the same list for enhancing your value as a loan officer to your consumers. And so if you're ever like questioning your value, you should just write it down one time. And then you'd be amazed like what lists you come up with. And for those of you that are like branch managers, what value do I provide to loan agents? Like why they would want to work for me. You know how I came up with this list, Arjun? You know how many people I coach want to switch companies? And I always ask them like, so what are you looking for? Yeah. So when I talk to recruiters, like, loan officers looking for, you should ask me because they tell me all the time, right? This is exactly what they're looking for. You made the analogy one time, and I think it was funny, is when we want to like help people, and it's a funny dating analogy, right? If I want to like get better at dating as a male, should I go to the male conference where all men get together and try to figure out what women want? Or do I want to go to like the female conference where women just talk about what they want, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of these values too, because I talk to my clients about what they're looking for in a company, you should sit down with your real estate agents and also go figure out what they want too. If you also want to figure out what value is too, and speaking of which, if you haven't been to like a Tom Ferry seminar or to like an agent seminar, you should. Because where I started to really figure out what value I can bring to real estate agents is when I started going to their seminars.
Yeah.
Arjun, I think that people think that agents are a lot different than us when they're like almost exactly the same. You put on an event, LFG Energy, a couple months ago in November, and what you taught every single agent there is what I would teach loan officers. And when I went to a Tom Ferry event, what was taught to agents is what we teach loan officers. Like we're actually pretty amazed. But still being there, spending 2 days with agents, and you get to talk to them and you get to have coffee, and they're really tell you what they want. And so I think we struggle sometimes because we won't do some of the simplest things, like just hang out with agents a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
For one summer, I said to myself, I'm going to go 90 days. I'm going to meet as many realtors as possible, and I'm never going to ask for business. So I would go to events and I would even dress like realtors, because realtors and loan officers, they dress differently at events. Loan officers like to have their little name tag and have their suits, and realtors dress really casual. So I would just dress really casual and hang out with realtors, right? A lot of them thought I was a realtor too when I told them that I was a lender. It was really funny. They're like, I thought you were a realtor. I'm like, no, I'm just hanging out with you. I'm just like a spy. I'm like a mole. So I created that thing. But here's one thing that I realized. I think that when it comes to value, I showed you that list, and I think that people are obsessed too much with when it comes to value, like things. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I do mortgage coach, or I do this presentation, or I do webinars, I do this, that. So I want to simplify that. Okay. I want to simplify how to express your value, know your value, and how to project that to real estate agents. Okay. So I showed you that list, and I've got a different version of it here. So I have a list of all the things that you can do to help realtors. But this gets really confusing, guys, because you're looking at all these things, and I know what's going to happen. As soon as I give you this list, you guys are going to memorize the list, and you're gonna throw it up on your agents. Well, I do this and I do this and I do that, and you're gonna make some elaborate elevator speech, which sounds crafted and hokey and all that stuff, because it happens. Or what if you say you do this and you do that, and the realtors go, I don't really need that though, So I want to simplify this. This is what I call the value stack. Every bit of value that you can provide an agent partner falls into one of these 5 categories. Okay. It's either growth, conversion, scaling, performance, or support. How do I know that? Because that's the value stack that I use for coaching. So when I coach somebody, am I helping them grow their business, increase conversion, scale their business, perform better, or miscellaneous support? So miscellaneous support might be technology, it might be hiring, it might be leadership, etc. Okay. So it's in these 5 categories. So when I sit down with a real estate agent, I would sit there and I would say, so you said it right, Arjun. You said, don't be a vendor. So you're going to look at an agent, you say, I know I'm a loan officer, but I don't consider myself a vendor. A vendor is somebody who provides mortgage services. I'm a realtor-centric lending partner. And there's 5 areas that I like to work with my realtors to help them grow their business. It's growth, conversion, scaling, performance, and support. Let me ask you a question. Out of these 5 areas, which is most important to you this year that you're trying to improve? Like if you could rank them from 1 to 5, which is the most important to least important? And tell me, okay? You're going to get a better idea of their business just by starting with this, okay? Before you start rattling off all of this. Then from there, you can start to hone in. If they say like, well, I really need to like grow my business, I need more leads, then you can say, well, these are the things that I do to help realtors grow their business. I do collaborative social media, I do collaborative webinars, etc. That's like growth, right? Or
Yeah.
if they say, well, I'm pretty good with like getting leads, but my conversion could be better. Like, let's convert open houses better. Let's do better post-close. Let's do better lead management, right? Let's win more offers. Here's the thing about this list too. This list goes from it's sequential. Like when you establish a business, the first thing you do is you get leads and you work on converting it. And then when you get good, you scale your business. And then you look back and say, are we performing the best? It's the same thing with real estate agents. And so this value stack can also help you attract the right type of agent. So Arjun, let me ask you a question. A new realtor or a realtor that struggles with production, which one of these 5 areas do they need the most help with? Or what do you guys think, right? Newer realtors, right? Which one
Yeah,
of these five?
it's growth.
Growth, right? Okay.
Yeah.
A middle realtor who does a decent amount of production, where do they tend to struggle with a little bit more?
Either
Or,
scaling or performance, like how
well,
to
they're
take
usually
on.
growth conversion, they start to get into scaling, right?
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
like your top realtors, they're all about scaling and performance. That makes sense. And then like
yeah.
leadership here, right? And so the value propositions that you have and the value that you provide to realtors is also directly related to who you want to attract. And so if you're out there and your value proposition is like, oh, I can help you create business and create business and create business, you're going to attract a lot of lower level realtors that don't have business. Okay. Right. But if your value proposition is I'll create, I'll help you convert more of your open houses, get more referrals out of your clients, connect you with other referral partners for collaboration, then you're going to get more of the middle top agents, right? Or do you do events? Let's do events together and I'll show you how to convert events better, right? So that's conversion with middle end realtors. Okay. And then you can start to figure out like where they need help. And then everything that has to conversion is here. Okay. And so it can be expressed that way too. And I'll say that. And I'll say the first area that I look at when it comes to real estate is, especially when they say, well, I need leads, I need leads, I need leads. Okay. I always then ask them just keep asking them. I say, well, okay, so where do you normally get leads? How do you normally get leads? Do you not have leads because you're running out of ideas, or have we not fully maximized all the opportunities that you have? Like, what are you doing to get leads? How big is your database? How long have you been in the business? I might find that it's not about getting new business, it's that they're just horrible at converting, relationships they already have, right? I mean, like Arjun, you've been in the business for a long time. And how many realtors do you know, and you've talked to realtors, even have a CRM setup and a follow-up system and getting referrals, right? It's not
Very few. I
very, very
think,
few.
well, there's one thing I'll add to that, Khai, because can you put that screen back up,
Yeah.
brother? For everyone that's out there that's in sales. How many people in the chat, if you guys can just tell me that real estate agents are your number one referral source? Like that's pretty much who you go to. Like that's the well you dip into. Can you guys just throw into the chat yes or no? Because otherwise this may not have much relevance. That's what I need to see. For those that do, and I'm presuming that most everybody does. Mark, okay, not you. Okay, you and I relate, Mark. Mark, what is yours? What's your number one referral source? Or who do you go after?
By the way, I like Mark Madsen's value
But
proposition. Very concise.
I like it as well. And Mark, I'm with you, man. My number one source are wealth advisors and attorneys. So I'm with you on that. I think to use a dating analogy too, because Khai used to coach me with these, because when I met him, I was very, very single, like hopelessly single. So he would relate all these things to me in terms of context and how you approach realtors. I'm like, oh, they already have a lender, He's like, well, you're a home wrecker. You got to be the guy who looks better and is like that nice escape, right? Because that's what wrecks homes in that moment of weakness. And then someone's like, oh, maybe Arjun is a little bit more appealing than this guy I've been using for 10 years. Or he dresses a little better or whatever. But I will tell you guys this, the thing that I've found when you are in rooms or you are going after groups where the room is quite crowded, there's going to have to be something. And the value stack is really important, but there's one layer on top of it, which has got to be the bold proposition of something you say. This has worked for me. Now, again, full disclosure, real estate agents are not my number one referral source intentionally. They're number three. Attorneys and wealth advisors and CPAs are number one. My database is number two. Realtors are number three. I don't want them to be any higher than that. But what I have and continue to say to real estate agents when I sit down with them, because I'm so clear on the value stack, and this is something that I think what Khai's talking about, everyone, you need to get really, really, really granular with this and figuring it out, not just speak in generalities or cliches, but like, no, how can you affect growth in someone's business? How can you affect conversion in someone's business? How can you help with scaling? How can you help with performance? What kind of support do you provide? Like super specific with tangible things that are like spelled out and also proven. And if you haven't proven them yet, prove them for yourself, prove them with a different partner so that when you go to these meetings or you go to these sit downs or you have these opportunities to speak to groups, you're coming in there and you're not getting base hits here. You're making serious contact with the ball. I open every realtor engagement with the following statement before I get into any of this stuff in terms of asking them questions. I'll tell them, look, I know you probably have somebody that you've worked with for years or that does your deals, and I don't even know if we're going to be a good fit. What I'm going to tell you is that in the next 30 minutes, I'm going to do more for your business than any lender you've spoken to or worked with. So it's quite bold. I've got their attention now. Like I've said something, now I need to back it up. And this again is where you need to be very clear and tested and proven in any of those areas of growth, conversion, scaling, performance, or support, so that you can back up that statement. But I make a very, very bold statement and I have their attention when they say, like, okay, I'm listening. Because what is the thing right now that agents are most scared or fearful of, right? It's business, the loss of it, or how they're going to get it. So if I'm telling them right now, I'm going to do more for your business, and whether we work together or not, what I'm going to share with you is going to have more of an impact on your business than the lender you've worked with for years, who just does your deals. You'll have their attention. You're totally opening differently instead of, so here's what I'm good at, and here's why I'm the best, and here's like the usual stack of stuff that they're using just so that you'll buy them the coffee that they don't want to spend money on, right? And sit down with. They've got 50 of those emails sitting in their inbox. Definitely come with something bold. Steal my line if you want, use it. It's never failed me.
You got to come with some conviction. You got to come with some conviction. You got to come with some.
It can't be shaky. It's like dating, right? Or approaching. Your approach can't be shaky. I was just, this is a nice play. You come here often. Like if there's shakiness in your voice, be bold and certain.
No, and I'm
going to do more for your business.
You have to be so confident. It's funny you say that because, what's funny about the industry is we're shy now of guaranteeing what we do. But that's what people are really looking for. They're looking for a guarantee. You know what I mean? Like if you come weak, and so to look at somebody and say, I promise you, I will give you more value than any other lender that you've ever worked with. Why are we afraid to say that? I promise you, I will close that loan on time. Why are we afraid to say that? It's because we've let people down. It's because we haven't looked at what we deliver. We're not upping our game. Like we continue to not only use rental skis, but the rental skis are getting older and older and older. And then like, we don't want to make promises on what these rental skis can do. You know what I mean? So let me ask everybody a question for the people here. Who has any type of like call or sales reluctance sometimes, right? Like at some point in time, everybody has some type of call or sales reluctance, right? Here's the thing, and I see this all the time. I want you to remember something, especially when it comes to like your value stack. Remember this phrase, everybody has a price. Mm-hmm. Everybody has a price in what they do. What that means is here's what happened and here's why we all developed call reluctance. At some point in time, you asked somebody for the business and then you got rejected. And so what did you do? You asked somebody else for the business. You got rejected. And then you asked third person for the business. You got rejected. So you developed this PTSD. Like I can't ask for business anymore because I keep getting turned down. Or to really like the really persistent people, they just persist. But they're playing that whole numbers game thing. They're still bringing like a mediocre value proposition, and they're getting no. And then what happens is it gets even worse. You're like reluctant to ask for business. So you say, well, I'm going to start bringing value. I'm going to do all these things, but you're so damaged by the PTSD that now you're offering value and you don't want to ask for business anymore. You want to soft sell now. I'm just going to do all these things and hopefully they'll say yes. And I don't like to ask for business. I'm not aggressive anymore. And that's worse because now you're doing all this really cool stuff for people and you're getting taken advantage of because you won't ask them for the business. And that's called being put in the friend zone when it comes to relationships, right? You're not bold enough to ask for the date. So you're going to do all these nice things and you're just being put in the friend zone. It's not how it works. That's not how sales works. This is how sales should work. I want you to remember the phrase, everybody has a price. You ask somebody for business, they say no. Before you ask the next person for business, I mean, if you want to, you can ask two or three more people for business. That's fine. Because maybe it's a sample set. That one person was an idiot. You get yes and yes. But let's just say you ask 2 or 3 more people for business and you're getting no. Ask yourself this question. The fourth person that you ask for business, how do I up the value? How do I up my offer? Okay. And keep upping your offer until you get a yes. Okay. Here's the dating analogy. You know this one, Arjun. I said this before. Approach girl, ask her for a number. Not her type. I'm going to get a no. All right. So I'm going to come back. I'm going to approach her again, but now I'm dressed better. Like Jimmy. Jimmy, I dress better, right? Okay. Still get a no. All right. I'm going to come back. I dress better. Now I'm fit. Still get a no. I'm going to come back. I dress better. I'm fit. and I made $1 million. Now she's thinking about it. Okay. I come back, I dress better, I'm fit, made $1 million, and now I'm a celebrity. Oh, well, now she wants to talk to me all of a sudden, right? But it's like, you have to keep raising the value until you get a yes. And the thing is that no one here, I don't want to say no one, but a lot of loan officers don't want to raise their value. What they want to do is they want to bring the same value and figure out a different way to say it. If it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, it's still a duck. You're still selling a duck. You got to change that and you got to increase value. And that's why I said, number one, it comes into 5 areas. And number two, there is a crap ton of value that we can provide that falls into this area. Okay. And then you can start looking at it, you can start delivering it better, you can start articulating it better. The thing I like about this too, the reason I have the value stack, and like I said, I can give you guys all this list of all the different things that we can do. But the reason why I like the value stack is that everybody talks about their elevator pitch, right? And you're right, like Arjun, we all know what the elevator pitch is. I always ask people what their elevator pitch is, and I hear like the most elaborate of elevator pitches sometimes. Well, I do this, and as a result, I'm the blah, blah, blah. I like to keep things simple. Whenever I pitch things, I just like to remember certain words. It's easy for me to remember like 5 words in a phrase. Because here's how an elevator works. You jump in, whether it's an elevator pitch or you're meeting somebody, you don't really know how long you get with that person. I might only get 30 seconds with that person. So I might say Arjun's phrase. I'll say, well, I can tell you this. I can tell you, you'll get more value out of me than any other lender you've ever dealt with, because I'm going to help you with, I'm going to supercharge 5 things in your business: your growth, your conversion, how you scale, your performance, and other miscellaneous technological support. Oh, you got to go? Okay. But I got those words out, right? Once they hear that, I can elaborate from there, and I can ask them, out of those 5 areas, which are you focusing on this year? Which are you focusing on this year? Okay. Now, I always go for the, okay, you guys have a conversation. Now, there's something that I want people to understand when it comes to value, is that value is not the same thing as like education. Okay. There's something, what I call the problem solution loop. I want you to think about value as in what problems are you solving? Okay. Ask yourself the question, what problems are you solving? What problems can you solve for real estate agents? Because if you can provide a solution for the problem, you're more valuable. Now, I want you to understand something too, that for every new solution creates another problem. And so that's the problem solution loop. And if you want to be very valuable to people, stay in the problem solution loop. And this is how it works. So what do you think right now is like the number one problem? I'm going to ask you, Arjun, give me kind of like a typical answer. What do you think is the number one problem that agents have right now?
It's marketing.
Yeah, they need leads. Let's just say they need leads. That's what I'm going to say even more. They need leads. Okay, cool. That's a problem that you have. So what they're looking for, like what you're thinking is, well, how do I provide leads for them? Don't think that. Think about how you create leads. And so look at them and say, okay, well, how do you typically create leads? Let's run through the gamut of creating leads. What do? We do open houses, we do social media, we do prospecting, we ask for referrals, we do webinars, we do collaborative events, we meet with real estate partners, and just jot like 10 different things. The first thing they're going to look at you and go, shit, he just came up with a lot of things that I didn't think of, right? So so you just came up with a list of solutions. So are you doing these things? You can do this, and this, right? Then ask them this question. Out of the things that I just list, what do you do? What do you not do? What do you wish you could do? Okay. Well, I would love to do social media, but what? Okay, but because they had a problem, they don't have any leads. You just created a solution for them, but there's another problem. What's the problem? Not very good in front of video. So you see how they had a problem, you created a solution, it created another problem. Oh, how come you're not good at video? Well, because I'm nervous and I don't know what to say and I don't have scripts. So now pose another solution. What if I help you with that?
Yeah.
What if I help you with that? Let's meet. Let me help you with that. Right? Okay. You can do the reverse. You can meet with a realtor and you can say, so tell me a little bit about your 2024 goals and what do you plan on doing to make it a big year? So in other words, you're asking them about their solutions. And they tell you, oh, I'm going to do these 5 things. I'm going to pump my social media account up. I'm going to do lots of webinars and I'm going to do some partnerships and I'm going to do some events. Okay, so now I'm going to take them into the problem solution loop. I'm going to say, okay, what foreseeable obstacles do you think could possibly get in the way of you not meeting those goals? Honestly, first and foremost, me. I'm not good with time management. I'm not good with organization.
Yeah.
Staying on schedule, a little bit of a technology curve, things like that. So you just created more problems that you can help solve. Because here's the thing about this. Here's the reason why I have this value stack is that you're going to find that people will start in one place, but they have problems in the other places. Like if somebody says, well, I want to do growth because I want to do a lot of webinars, you know what stops them from like really growing to webinars? Performance. In other words, they're not consistent with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know why people have conversion problems or let's say video problems? Is because they don't know how to do video. They have like a support problem. So you can provide support in one area to fix the rest. You can always take people into a problem solution loop. And so what happens is we get into this like cycle. I've got this other slide here of, I call it the educate, sell, follow up sort of trap, where we try to educate a client, educate a realtor, then we try to sell them when we play this follow-up game. Just stay in the problem solution ask loop. Like ask them, can I help you? Ask them, let's do this together. Ask them, how big is your database? Let me help you get more referrals, right? Let me help you with your next open house. How's the market? Well, the market's tough because it's taken like 7, 8 offers before I get one of my offers accepted. Let me help you convert offers better. And then just keep ask yourself the question, like, what are the solutions out there? It's really interesting. You work with a lot of like non-realtor partners, Arjun.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of, and a lot of people ask me, well, how do I break into that market? It's a little bit different, right? Like, how do I work with a financial planner? How do I work with an attorney, things like that? And you just sit back and you say, what problems
Yeah, exactly. It's the
do
same
they
approach.
have,
Yeah.
right? Or what problems do consumers have, or what's happening? You just start to notice things. So here's one of the things that I noticed. I noticed that I've got a lot of friends that have, not a lot, but I've had a few friends where their parents have passed away and they said, well, my dad left me the house and it's a $600,000 condo. It's got a $300,000 mortgage. What are my options? I'm like, well, not a lot. You can sell it, pay off the mortgage, and then what's your left over? You have to pay capital gains and death tax, estate tax, all this stuff, taxes. You did a reel on that one time, right, Arjun?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I said to myself, there's a real problem. Number one, why wasn't that property in a trust? And why didn't dad have life insurance to pay off the balance of the mortgage? Right. And so I sat there and I said, okay, so I need to educate my clients on trusts. And so that's an opportunity for you to work with estate planning attorneys to help educate your client database and everybody in the world and realtors client databases on why they should have a property in the trust. And I realized that people don't have life insurance. I bet you at least 50% of your client base doesn't have life insurance and your realtors client base doesn't have life insurance. You can partner with financial planners. Wait a second, financial planners. Yes, financial planners sell life insurance. You don't have to give a financial planner a client that's got $1 million in assets to invest. You can just help your financial planners write life insurance policies.
That's right.
I could do collaborative webinars with my financial planners doing life insurance education, because that's a real problem that people have, and I'm providing a solution, right? And I just keep stacking that. And so what we do is we say, well, this is our product, and our product is the mortgage, and I'm going to go sell that product. It's like, no, we solve problems. That's what we do. We solve problems. And when you approach people and you're always helping them with problems and figuring out how to help them, you're going to be the one that everybody wants to work with. And that's the best value of all. The best value of all is what problem is going to help you solve. And that's that type of value. And there's
my favorite, because I love movie clips, right? Everyone needs to think of themselves as the Winston Wolf. Winston Wolf was the guy that came in and cleaned up the mess at the end of Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
If you watch that movie, it's one of my favorite movies. But he's like the guy's cool, calm, collected. He solves, like everyone needs a Winston Wolf in their life, right? Like where to dispose of the body. Like this guy comes in and handles it, but that's what he does. That's when the door opens, and he's there. He says, "My name is Winston Wolf. I solve problems." Like that energy, that approach, that whole like aura of how he is how we have to be in the same space. That's how I market and brand myself as well. I solve problems. Some of these problems I don't want to deal with, but I solve problems. And so, no, I just want to throw that in, Khai.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so here's another level. Okay, so in the value stack, there's what I call the value test. Like what will really make it truly valuable? Well, there's the value itself, whatever you're delivering. But what will truly make it valuable is if you can provide proof, you can do it fast and you can do it easy. Okay, because certain things have more value even though it's the same. So for example, like Arjun, if I looked at you and I said, Arjun, if you work with me as a coach, I can increase your income by $250,000 by the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah.
Arjun, if you work with me, I can help you make an extra $5,000 this week. It's the same math, right? But you're going to take this week, right? You're going to take the immediate. And so here's the thing about value propositions too. Go for the value propositions at first that have the quickest return. Try to go for the value propositions that have the quickest return. One thing that I see when it comes to value propositions is when I see like lenders working with real estate agents, and they go, "Oh, I'm helping them build their social media brand, and I'm doing this and this and that," and it's great and everything. But if the goal is you're trying to help them increase business, then that duration is going to take too long for that return. Okay, if it's one of the first things that you're doing, I'm not saying you shouldn't do that, but if it's one of the first things that you're doing now. If you help them with that because they didn't know how to do video, and they're happy because they finally got some social media up, and then that's different, right? Because you're solving an immediate problem. So ask yourself the question, what are the things that you can deliver quickly? And again, back in the dating game, I've got to deliver value for you on the first date. You see what I'm saying? For me to want the second date, right? So here's the thing about your meeting too. So Arjun, when you sit down with an agent and you say, "I promise you that I'm going to provide more value than any other lender that you work with," don't just talk about the value that you're going to deliver. What value can you also deliver right then and there?
That's what I say.
Meeting.
You missed that part in the next 30 minutes.
I'll give you value right now in the next 30 minutes. That you want to hear one of my scripts? This is one of my scripts. I promise you that if we never talk again, you're going to remember this meeting, and it's going to bring you way more value than you've had in another 30 minutes. Yeah. Even if we never talk again, you're going to learn something, right? And so your meeting itself has to provide something for that. So come armed with the tip or the piece of advice, something. And here's a little trick. What's one thing that every single person, doesn't matter what level, out of these 5, Arjun, what do most people struggle with out of these 5? Doesn't matter what level.
Support.
Actually, performance.
Okay.
In other words, discipline, structure, time management. There's not a loan officer, not a realtor that I don't know at what level that doesn't suffer from time management, accountability, everything else, Totally. And I've got a lot of time management tricks. One of them is having a big ass wall calendar. Google big ass wall calendar. No, literally don't do that. But I have a big wall calendar, and it's literally a yearly wall calendar. It's one of like my best tricks. And so generally when I meet with people, I know that I might not be able to solve. Here's what I know. I besides loan officers, I coach realtors here and there. I coach attorneys and financial planners here and there. And what I know is that everybody has the same problem with time management, right? I can't necessarily solve how to help an attorney win a case. I can't necessarily solve how to help my financial planner, get another $1 million in management. I can't necessarily get somebody who's listening, but I can give you a time management tip that will work right away. That people will go, you know what? That was really, really good, because it's fast. It's simple, right? Yeah. Now let's go to proof, okay? I'm going to give you guys a gem. And if anybody's not listening, tough luck. They should have been on today's call. So what does proof mean? Proof is to be able to state in whatever you're going to do that you've done it before, so they believe you. So that's like looking at me and saying, "Well, tell me about your coaching program." And I said, "I guarantee you're going to get value out of the coaching." As a matter of fact, the last 10 people that took the last 10 people that took it, 7 out of the 10 got 2 new loans within the first week, right?
Yeah.
That's what you talk about. Okay, so here's a really good way you guys can create business right now and be extremely valuable to your real estate partners in so many ways. I want you to think about your database. Arjun, I'm going to use you as an example. How big is your database, Arjun?
I don't know, several thousand.
Thousands? 7,000? Okay. Out of those 7,000, how many were first referred by anybody? Out of the 7,000, probably at least 50%.
At least
50%. So there's 3,000 people that you met them because they referred by somebody else. So it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's a real estate agent, whether it's a financial planner, whoever it is. This is what you do. Everybody's like, well, I need to call my database. What do I say? This is what you say to call your database. You call that person. You just touch base with them. That's it. That's your only goal. Just touch base with them, have a natural conversation with them. How's it been? How's your mortgage? How's life? How's family? How's the thing? And then you transition into this. Hey, I was wondering if you can help me out with something. I was referred to you by John, your financial planner. I'm so appreciative that we were introduced and I had an opportunity to help you buy your home. I was wondering if you could help me. I want to return the favor to John. Is there somebody else that you know that would possibly need life insurance, or whether they're young and they're trying to start their savings plan, or whether they're, kind of later on in life and they're trying to figure out how to put their kids into college, retire, anything else? Is there somebody else that we can think of that we can create a referral for John? You can say the same thing for real estate agent, whatever. Call your entire database trying to get a referral for the person that referred you. So you're not trying to close them. And here's the thing. If you're on the phone with that person and if they need you for anything for a mortgage, they're going to bring it up. They're going to bring it up anyways because you're on the phone. So don't get on the phone thinking that you have to try to get a mortgage out of them. They're just going to bring it up. You're there trying to get a referral, not for you. Because how often have you called your database and say, hey, by the way, do you know anybody that I can help, do a loan? Because then you're self-serving. No. We're here to help John, our financial planner. We're here to return the favor. Do that. You're going to uncover a lot of opportunity. You're going to create a lot of referrals. But most importantly, you're not creating referrals for yourself. You're creating referrals for your business partners.
Right.
Because what I want to be able to do is I want to look at a potential business partner and say, I don't know about other lenders that you work with, but last year I created 237 referrals for my realtor partners. And I would love to create some referrals for you because your mindset is creating referrals for other people. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so not only is my value, what's my value? It's actually conversion. Okay. Because guess what? You may have asked them for a referral when you worked with them, but I'm going to ask them for a referral forever. As a matter of fact, every single year, I'm going to call our closed clients and ask them for a referral. I'm always going to convert for you. Okay. I'm always going to convert from you. And I have proof, and it's generally pretty fast and easy for me to ask for a referral, and you don't have to do a lot of work. Right. So I go deep value when it comes to that. And that's what it is. It's just a game of problem solutions, because what happens is these realtors need leads, but they don't ask for leads because they don't know how to ask for a referral. And it's hard to ask for a referral. You're like begging for business. So they can't convert that referral, but I can ask for a referral for you, right? Sure. I can convert better. And you're not disciplined. I'm very disciplined. I call my database every Friday and I ask for referrals. So you don't have a performance issue. I got the performance issue, and I'm supporting you that way. And just you guys use the value stack as a way to define the direction that you go. And if you stay in that loop, the problem solution loop, and just value stack it, you'll always be valuable, and people want to work with you. You said that phrase, Arjun, what is it? Be so valuable, you're irreplaceable.
Yeah, they can't tune you out. Be so valuable that they can't tune you out.
They can't tune you out.
Yep.
Tune you out.
That's it.
Right?
That's it.
And we're not thinking that.
Definitely. Yeah, no, that's pretty much what it all comes down to at the end of the day. And look, the way the market's shifting, the way it's going to shift, because people don't need someone that just provides mortgages, guys. They can go online and get that. That now has been reduced to the same level of interface as applying for a credit card. You can go online and get one. So really, what do they need you for? So getting articulate, figuring out what it is you're good at, excelling in these areas that Khai talked about with the value stack, coming into it quite bold, having a lot of belief and confidence in yourself and what it is that you bring to the table, and being solution oriented. Like you're in the problem solving business. I said that for those of you that attended the LFG event here in San Francisco in November. You're not in the mortgage business anymore. Realtors are not in the home selling business. You're in the problem solving business. That's the currency that matters. How many problems can you solve today? How many problems for your business partners, your colleagues, or for clients can you solve? If you do that, the business end of it, the transactional end of it takes care of itself. But you're in the problem solving business now. And just be the Winston Wolf of it. Cool, calm, collected, somebody that people are really drawn to because they just always get it done. They handle business well. They keep their head. And we all know that agents and a lot of our referral partners, that's what's really missing in their space too. It's just someone who's level-headed. You know, they're certainly not. Their entire premise or state of existence is to whip people up into a frenzy and create panic, because that's what they were taught in real estate school, right? But deal's not closing. Just start blowing things up and lighting things on fire, and eventually it'll work out for you. It's actual bullshit, but that's what they do. So if we remain those lighthouses or those anchors to transactions, again, solving problems, we're going to be all the better for it, and we won't be replaceable no matter what. So Khai, thanks for sharing all this. I know this is, you know, this is different. And again, the reason why I love working with Khai and why I want him to be on with everyone today, there's a little bit of psychology, and he goes down these tunnels or these deep holes with adding these insights to people. It's not just, okay, here's what you do. Call this many people. It's not the X's and O's. That's basic coaching. There's plenty of it out there. That's, if anything, that's quite saturated, guys. This is a lot more cerebral. This is a lot more focused. It's a lot more introspective. You got to actually ask yourself some questions and look in the mirror. And I hope that was helpful for everybody. Hopefully Khai makes it out to Vegas next week, and we're going to see all you guys out there, and then you can actually chat with him a little bit more. Is there, I think, depending on the chat and where we're at, somebody can unmute themselves. We've got time for maybe 1 or 2 questions, if anyone's got one. Madsen, it'd be good to hear from you, man. So just unmute yourself anyways and say hi.
Yeah, write in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you have any questions about which value propositions, you know, which area of focus, like what do you struggle with? Where do you think realtors struggle with as well too? I was talking to, yeah, I might convince myself to be there on Wednesday and Thursday. So we'll see if you guys are going to be there. Is Madsen joining us for a question?
Hey guys, good talk today. Thanks for having me on.
What's up, Mark?
What's up? What's up? Looking forward to seeing y'all next week. Khai, you should make it out. You got a place to stay here if you need one.
Might take you up on that. Guys, I want to put something in the chat real quick. So this is my chat, Connect with Khai. And if you go there, it basically takes you to my link tree. If you go to my link tree and you click send me an email, I will email you any of the lists or any of the slides that I have, because I've got a list of value propositions. Oops, I got a list of, you know, the value propositions for the agents, for recruiters, for consumers. I can send you those 3 documents. Just send me an email. I would also too, if you send me the email, I'd love it if you guys put, what are you working on, or what do you need help with your agents, and what do you think they struggle with, or what you struggle with, right? So I can see what you guys think of value propositions. Like, what do you plan on working on them with this year, and where are you struggling with your? Go ahead and send me that email. So I'd like to see what you guys are working on. I'll send you a list back, and if I have some time, we'll set up a call and we'll talk. Anything that I can do to help you guys out. I see Jimmy has joined the rankings as well too. What's up, Jimmy?
What's up, Jimmy?
Let's fucking go, guys.
Can't wait to see you, brother. I can't wait to see you next week.
Dude, I'm really pumped about it. I'm super pumped. I'm pumped to see everybody, honestly. It's been, I feel like, too long.
Way too long, man. The community is the best part. I always say to people, like, this, I mean, time like now, especially that event, because that event is such a community driven event. But we need it, right? Like being around each other, being in the same room with one another, exchanging ideas, that positivity is more needed now, because if I have to talk to another realtor about all their problems, I swear to God. So
but wait, you want to talk to them about their problems, because then
of course
solutions.
Yeah, no, of course.
Matter of fact, shake the boat. If they're telling you about all the good things that you're doing, create more problems for them, so they're codependent on you.
Totally. No, I agree. I just meant in a general sense. Like, so
I know.
I want to just be around more like-minded guys from our space and people.
There's
that
a
meet-
listen, there's a caveat to everything that I say. The caveat is make sure that you don't solve a lot of problems for people that like don't do a lot of business and have no value for you in return. You know, I'm gonna leave that up to you guys to filter through that yourselves.
Got to be careful with that. Jimmy, are you going to be running your basically your like live in-person podcasting and interviews and everything?
Oh, bro, I'm gonna be interviewing everybody. I am so pumped about it.
Good.
Yeah, it's I'm upgrading from last year. I have a videographer with a couple like high-end cameras. We're just gonna be doing interviews like on the spot. I'll probably grab some words from you, and like to kind of add on to what you were saying, you know, all the negativity out there. There's so much. I mean, it's been a long run of just losses. We've just been losing for years. We have to be the light. We have to be the light to our business partners. And you know what? We're going to go here. Just hearing the people on the stage, they have a lot of light to give, and it's going to rub off on you. And
For sure.
it's just like, you know, you could be the light. And dude, you bring it back and yeah, get all those BS realtors out of there. But like, still the top producers, they need light too. And you're going to shine and you'll look a lot different than other people.
Totally, man. No, it's going to be big. This is key. So I'm looking forward to seeing your whole crew, Jimmy. And yeah, this will be great, man. I know you'll be capturing a lot of content and talking with people. And it's a nice element that's been there as part of this event the last couple of years with you doing that. So it's cool. I'm glad you're doing it.
I appreciate you, brother. Great
All right,
stuff.
brother. Okay, guys, we'll see you next week. Reach out anytime. Stay connected. Follow us on IG so that we all stay in touch. And we'll see you guys next week. Let's fucking go.
See you guys.